After Old Man Clark claimed to have saved the multiverse, he encouraged the Justice League to follow him through the sixth-dimensional portal, expressing that it wouldn't hurt them because it was set to handle their energy signatures. So they hesitantly stepped through it and were instantly teleported to a world that looked like paradise, where they met what seemed like older, wiser, and more powerful versions of themselves. But although they didn't know it at the time, something was clearly wrong, because the Clark they were speaking to wasn't the real Clark at all. It couldn't have been, because the real Clark was desperately seeking help in a seemingly bottomless pit filled with bodies on top of bodies. But not just any bodies, dead versions of himself. He was helpless, shouting at the top of his lungs like he'd never shouted before, because for the first time in a long time, he felt hopeless, which was the exact opposite of what the Justice League was feeling. Because after going on a tour of the House of Justice, a museum dedicated to their victory, they were pretty impressed, with the exception of Batman. Well, he was impressed but eager to find out how they did it. He wanted to know how they saved the multiverse because time was of the essence. But Old Man Clark encouraged him and the others to relax, to enjoy their utopia for the day, and that he'd get to the important stuff tomorrow. So they did, and not only was it beautiful, but it was peaceful, harmonious. There wasn't any conflict at all. The Mascara was now a place devoted to sharing the truth. Mars was repopulated with Martians, which greatly excited Martian Manhunter. Him and Hawkgirl had a son together named Shane, and craziest of all was that Barry and John had found a way to use the life entity to restore parts of the multiverse that were lost in the war. They were practically gods, but unfortunately for Bruce, he was no longer with them during this time. Dick Grayson was actually the one behind the cow, because apparently Bruce sacrificed his life to save everyone. But like he always is, Bruce was skeptical of what was being conveyed and filled with questions, with the first of them being, where the hell are all the villains? It all felt too good to be true, and what confirmed that was the case was Shane, Martian Manhunter and Hawkgirl's son, because later that night he approached them expressing that they needed to leave, that this place wasn't what they thought it was, but they didn't understand, so in an act of desperation, he used his psychic abilities to enter their mind and show them what he really meant. Meanwhile, the real Clark was still trying to escape his prison, leaping up into the sky over and over again. Despite how many times he had failed, he refused to give up because there was nothing stopping him from at least trying. Nothing until he was met face to face with Old Man Clark telling him that they needed to talk. But sadly, that's where this issue comes to an end, but if you want to see what happens next, let me know in the comments down below.